Welcome back to the Chaos and Carry-Ons podcast with Stephanie
and Shelby.
Chaos and carry-ons, let's go. Disney dreams in tow, you know. Every flight and every ride. Join the journey, come inside.
So today we're talking about everything that we did off-site. So this is going to be Hollywood, Universal. I can't ever remember exactly how you say that. I think it's
Universal Hollywood.
There you go.
Dyslexic showing.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Huntington Beach. We both did that.
So we mentioned in the very first episode of this series that Jordan and I flew out a couple days before y'all got there. We were already there. So we were going to do Universal Hollywood because Stephanie and Derek didn't really care if they did it or didn't do it. So we went ahead and did it the day after we got there. Now, we've talked about the time difference. It was 2 hours behind home, which 2 hours does not sound like a big deal, but we were up at 4 a.m. And so I was like, let's just get ready and go. We'll just drive around and see what we see. So people in California, we quickly realized, do not get up early. They are the night owls.
Yes,
you could go
I would say that.
anywhere you want to go in California, especially on the weekends. Before 8 a.m., you have the freeway to yourself. Like, you're the only person out.
Yeah.
So we went towards Universal, but we were going to go through like Sunset Boulevard, Hollywood Boulevard. We were going to show Taylor the Hollywood sign and all that because the park didn't open until 9, and this was like 5:36. So we found this observatory. It is called Griffith Observatory, and it's like, you've probably seen it in shows and on movies, because I actually was just watching American Idol the other day and saw it like in one of their B-roll scenes. I was like, there's that observatory. But it's like a dome-shaped building, and I don't know exactly. You could go inside, but they weren't open as early as we were there. Something about the stars. I don't know what they do there. It's something like spacey. I don't know what they do. We never went inside, but you could park for free until 10 a.m., which parking I think was only like $5 or $10. But it gave the best views of the LA, like the valley, because you're up on this hill. I was going to say mountain, but I think it's just a hill. And you can see the Hollywood sign. We were so, like, it just felt like you could reach out and touch it almost. But you could see all the way around this. You could see like the city skyline, the views. It reminded me so much of Hawaii, being up there with the mountains and the ocean and then the city. It just really reminded me of when we climbed Diamond Head. And it's one of those like happy little accidents, because it was amazing and it was free and we loved it. Which you can talk about your experience there, because on one of your non-Disney days, you also went. So let's hear how your day went.
Well, so we went, I think it was on a Wednesday. So the traffic was horrific when we went through there. I can't remember how long it even took us to get there. But then it started raining. And I don't mean like a little rain. I mean like a downpour of rain. And it got really foggy. So we went all the way up there, and then you could not see the Hollywood sign. It was so disappointing. You could see down a little bit, but not very far, if that makes sense, because it was so foggy. And you have to understand that LA smog is a real thing.
It is.
I don't know if you noticed it when you were up there.
Yeah. Well, no, the day we were up there at that observatory, it wasn't bad. It was a very clear, but you remember we had the better weather before you came.
Yeah.
And so it was like a clear, sunny Saturday morning. It was beautiful, but there was no smog. But I did notice it other trips when we went back to LA from Anaheim. I did notice it later.
Yeah. Well, it was smog. There was a lot of smog that day. There was a lot of fog. And so we couldn't, it wasn't great, but the girls said that they still enjoyed it, because on your way up there, there's a lot of big houses. And I don't know if anybody else has that favorite pastime where you like to pass by mansions. And I'm not talking about like $500, $600, $700,000 homes. I'm talking like these homes were probably $4, $5, $6 million.
Oh, it was like driving through, what's that Netflix show called? Selling Sunsets or whatever
Yes.
it's called.
Yes.
That's where we were when we went up to that observatory. It was like, because me and Jordan were playing a guessing game, like, okay, what do you think their occupation is? Are they a producer? Are they an actor? Like, what are they? But you know what's funny? All those houses were amazing, but then their cars were just normal people cars.
Yes, I know.
Now, some of them did have fancy, nice, expensive looking cars, but there were very many houses that we drove by that I knew were multi-million-dollar homes that they had like a Nissan or a Honda out in the driveway. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, obviously your money's in your home and not your car.
Well, what is Dave Ramsey says the most driven
Yeah,
car
the
by a
richest
millionaire
people
is a
yeah,
Toyota?
The richest people, I think it's a Honda actually, but
Okay.
one or the other, but either way, like, yeah. So you're right though, through there, and if you wouldn't have been able to see the view, I can see where that would still be fun because though that's where like the big money homes were.
Mm-hmm. So it was really neat. And then it took us, I can't even tell you how long it took us to get back. Probably 2 hours.
Oh, at least. That's what I was gonna say. Like, if you're going to LA from the Disneyland area, you have to plan ahead. I mean, their rush hour traffic is no joke. And even midday traffic was no joke when we went through. If it's through the week, you're gonna get in traffic and it's not gonna be just a cut and dry. Now, that Saturday morning when we went up there, because it was so early, we literally made it there in 30 minutes.
Yeah, I can't imagine
It might not have even been 30 minutes. It might have been a little less. And it never took us, like, it was over an hour every other time that we went. So I would highly recommend Griffith Observatory. It's in a really neat area of town, even if you can't see the Hollywood sign, which really makes me sad that y'all didn't get to see that because it was just right there. It was right there.
I know.
It's really sad.
Well, also was it called the Walk of, is it the Stars Walk? What do they call it?
The Hollywood Walk of Fame.
There you go. That is probably like what, a mile from?
It's not far. I don't know. That's actually where we were when I found the observatory, which we didn't get out of the car to see Hollywood Boulevard. We had already seen it. Taylor didn't really know the difference. She didn't know you can see the stars and the handprints and stuff down through there, but we didn't get out of the car to go look. But yeah, I would say within 5 minutes of the observatory.
Well, it was saying that it was going to tack on an extra 40 minutes to our ride because of all the traffic. So we did not do it. But I will say this. I don't know what it is, but my kids have always had a thing with big cities. I remember when Sophia was maybe like 5 or 6 and we went to Nashville one time and I remember her looking up, I can't remember where we were, and she said, I want to live in a city when I grow up where I don't have to have a car and like the buildings are as tall as you can see. Like she's just always loved that, and so has Harper. So I'm going to say this. They were disappointed by LA because they were like, where's all the big skyscrapers? And I thought that was funny, that's what they were expecting. They were expecting Chicago. They were expecting New York, and it does not look like that. And that was actually shocking to me too.
It doesn't where you were because you didn't actually go downtown. And that's something I'm going to talk about towards the end. We did a Dodgers stadium tour and we had to go through downtown where the Staples Center used to be. It's not called Staples Center anymore. And I didn't realize that until we drove past it. It's called something else now, but the iconic Staples Center, like that's downtown LA and that's where the buildings are. But you weren't on that side of town when you did the observatory.
But still, you would have thought you would have seen them coming in. And I guess my point is it's very spread.
Like, it is very spread. Yes.
I did not realize that. And Chicago is not.
No. And Nashville's not either.
No, neither is Atlanta. So it's a lot different than what I had pictured it to be.
It is. It's very spread out because when we were up at that observatory on like the right side, you could see downtown LA. That's where you can see the Hollywood sign. That's where Sunset Boulevard and all those are. But then you went around that building to the other side and you could see a whole different side of skyscrapers. I don't know what that area was. But you could see, like, it's broken into sections, which I can see where what you're saying, like, you like feeling like you're right in the middle of the city. You don't get that there because it's all miles away. It's in
Yeah.
different areas.
Yeah, yeah. What do they call that? Concrete jungle. That's what
Yes.
That's what the girls like. I don't know why, but that's
We've
their
got to
thing.
take them to New York.
I
They
know.
have got to go to New York. It is amazing. I'm going to have to do a New York episode one day because I absolutely love New York and I have a lot to say about that. When we left the observatory, we went to Universal Hollywood and we got there right at opening. Now, I will say the parking was maybe $25 or $30, which is average for theme park parking no matter where you're at. But preferred parking was double the cost. And Jordan mentioned, should we do preferred? Because we do that frequently. I mean, you know, when you've been through cancer treatment, you want to be close.
Yeah.
We didn't do it. I was like, no, I knew it couldn't be that far. You're in the middle of the city. So I was like, I don't think it's going to be like that bad. Well, I'm here to tell you, pay for preferred parking because we walked. I wish I would have had it turned on because I guarantee you it was 1 mile from the car through City Walk, just like in Orlando. You go through the
Yeah.
City Walk situation into the park. I promise you it probably was a 1 mile walk, and I'm not exaggerating that in the least. So you go into Universal and it's very much like what you see in Orlando as far as like the Scooby-Doo stuff, the Minion stuff, like the little kid things were in there. And you go down escalators to get to they have it broken into upper level, or I think they call it upper lot and lower lot, upper level, lower level. So the whole park is on the side of the Hollywood Hills. We did a studio tour, like the Universal version while we were in there. And that one actually goes up and down through the whole area. But we went down 4 of the biggest, largest, steepest escalators that I've ever seen in my life. There was at least 4, there may be 5. And I had watched YouTube videos of Universal before we went. Pictures and videos do not do these escalators justice. And in my mind, you know, I was having intrusive thoughts the whole time. And if you have anxiety of any kind, you know what I mean. I was just thinking, if one person behind us loses their footing, we are all going down and somebody's going to die because it was so steep, straight down. I've never been on an escalator like that in my life. And there were 4 of them. And so the lower level is where the Nintendo World is. And that's the main reason why we went, because Epic Universe doesn't open in Orlando until next month. But we're probably not going to do that for a while. We're going to let the new wear off before we attempt that. So that's really the main reason why we went to Universal, because Taylor is not a big rider, but she loved the little Minion area. They had a Secret Life of Pets ride. They had this little simulator ride that was the DreamWorks. So it had Shrek and Kung Fu Panda, and I don't remember. It had several little like cartoons all combined.
Now they have the Seuss stuff too, right?
No, I didn't see that. They do
Really?
have Harry Potter.
Okay.
They have the Hogsmeade. They had the Simpsons stuff, just like Florida. I didn't see the Seuss Land. I don't think they have it. So the Nintendo World was awesome, and it made me very excited for Epic Universe to open. Honestly, Epic looks way better than the one in California. We were actually just watching a video on that this morning. But the Bowser ride that's in Nintendo World, it was the most fun ride I think I've ever ridden anywhere. And I would love to go back and do it again. We waited forever for that ride, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Mario Kart. It was like virtual. You have this little visor on and you hook these glasses to it. And you're like, you have a steering wheel. So you're like trying to get the coins and the power ups. And it was really neat. And it was a very long ride too. It was worth the wait in that sense. Honestly, Universal was kind of underwhelming. It was, and we knew it was going to be like a 1-day thing. We were done. I think it was probably 4:00 and we had ridden all that we wanted to ride. We were done for the day. We left.
Yeah.
The food at Universal was horrible.
I
and
wondered
it
if you were going to
all-
say that.
It smelled like butt cracks all the way through the park. I mean, you would,
that's sad.
okay, so I'm a Disney dork. Everybody knows that. You go through Disney World and you smell the cookies, you smell the churros, like it
Right.
smells good. That Universal food smelled like a bunch of armpits and feet. It was awful. And it tasted even worse. It was awful. That was the only negative thing about my whole trip was the food at Universal.
I remember
And I
Jordan
think-
saying that.
I think he'll probably say that when we ask them their highs and lows.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's going to say. I haven't asked him yet, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to put it out there because that'll be the next episode.
Yeah.
I would almost bet money that he'll say the food at Universal was his low. But anyway, they did have a Voodoo Donuts in City Walk, so we did get that, and that redeemed everything for that day. The City Walk was very much like the one in Orlando. A lot of the same stores, restaurants. It was pretty much identical.
Let's put a disclaimer in there because you said that you had been watching the videos. I've also been watching the videos, and the Mario World, I don't know if you saw this, but it's a lot bigger in Orlando, and it's even going to have
Oh,
like a
it
Donkey
is.
Kong, or they call it
Yes.
Land.
Yeah.
It looks really, really neat.
Yes.
So-
I'm really excited. Like being in Hollywood in that area made me more excited for Epic than I was.
Yeah.
We're not big Universal people. I mean, we do go occasionally, but we still are in the stage of life where we have a little kid and there's not a lot at Universal for little kids to do. It's unless they love, if they're thrill seekers, there's plenty for them, but ours is not. So we're not huge on Universal, but that did make me more excited for that. I would definitely go back, but I don't know. I could see for a lot of people, Universal Hollywood being a one and done thing. You can absolutely do it in one day. I would like to go back. There were things that we didn't do that I would like to do, but I'm not just like going to plan my entire trip around it. I wouldn't be sad if I never went back. I guess I could say that.
Well, let's go right into the next thing that we did, which was Huntington Beach. Now, we went on different days because we went on the day when Derek was recovering, but right before I started, and Mateo was also recovering. But this was the day that Shelby went into Disney California Adventure. On the way there, we got Chick-fil-A, and if you know us, that's very on brand for us. And I don't know if we've mentioned this at all. I don't remember if we did this when we talked about just like our brief overview, but the food in California is different. The Taco Bell is different. The Chick-fil-A is different. Everything that we had was different. Actually, we even had In-N-Out in Houston when Mateo was born. It did not taste the same. It was a lot better. The fries, I cannot describe what the fries at Chick-fil-A were like. As Sophia said it best, you can see the salt, but it is not salty, and they are not greasy. I don't know what kind of magic that is. Well, another thing that's weird is even Sophia said the chicken is not as breaded. But the texture's different. I don't know what they've got going on out there, but it's a lot different. Anyway, so we had Chick-fil-A on the way there, and we ate it in the parking lot because it was raining, and then it stopped raining, and we got out. And let's just say that we really went to Huntington Beach for Mateo because when we got there, he looked out the window and he said, "Mom, I see a beech tree." And we were like, "A beech tree?" And he like pointed and he was like, "There is a beech tree." And so we got over there and looking, we realized he was talking about the palm trees.
Taylor used to call him that too, and I loved it.
So he was like, where's the beach? So we were like, oh, he's realized that where there's palm trees, there's a beach. So we were like, okay, we got to take him to the beach. So it was cold that day. And Derek was not feeling good. I was the one that got out with him and walked over to the ocean. And I was like, we have to at least go up to the ocean just because we had not seen the Pacific Ocean since Hawaii. So we went over there. The waves are big. I will say that. Much bigger than like what you see in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
But overall, I thought that the beach would be nice if it was a nice day. Now, I'm not like some people are super picky. They need that white sand beach. That's just how some people are. I'm not that way. Like we really like going to Myrtle and Vero, we've been there. So we don't mind being on the Atlantic side. Is that, I think, yeah. Of the water. So if you don't mind that, I think you'll enjoy the beach in California.
We also went to Huntington Beach, and it's because that's the beach we went to when we were there before, and it's just what we knew. We went on a different day, and it was very windy, but the sun was out. So it was a beautiful day. We actually went to eat at Duke's, which we ate in Hawaii and were obsessed and loved it so much. And I'm here to say the Duke's in California taste as good or better than the Duke's in Honolulu. So we went for that reason, but we did go out to the ocean, and we shopped around their little beach town too. Huntington Beach is a very safe, non-sketchy area. So I would highly recommend that if you're in California.
Yeah. Wouldn't you say that being there and on the beach and all those, I don't know, the vibe felt very Hawaii-esque. I don't know why that it did. Like Waikiki.
It did. It absolutely does.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because of those big hills in California. There's mountains too, but right there, you could see that off in the distance, and that, I don't know, it just reminds me so much of Hawaii.
Now, let's say this for people that's listening. I feel like there's a vibe. I don't want to say a vibe, but there's just this I'm going to say preconceived notion that people from the South think if I go to California, those people hate us. They're not going to accept, they're going to be rude to us. You know what I mean? I don't know why that people think that, but they do. But whenever we said we were going to California, people almost acted surprised by it. But nobody treated us. Okay, let's be honest. We're all wearing, me and Shelby are wearing skirts.
I was about to say, Jordan and Derek didn't have skirts on.
But still, to look on us, we look different. And nobody was rude to us.
No.
Nobody made us feel uncomfortable.
The people in California were as kind as the people in Hawaii, and they are much kinder than people in Florida.
Yes.
And I'm not even just talking about the Disney bubble. I'm talking about everywhere that we went. People were just genuinely so much kinder than they are in Florida.
Yes.
I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't know, because you hear horror stories and people are like, oh, the people in California are just so much different than we are.
Yes.
But they did not, they didn't hold that against us.
No. And the thing in Florida is people act like they don't want you to be there. They're tired of the tourists. They're tired of it.
Yep.
But California acted like they wanted you to be there, to experience California. They would tell you, go here, go there. This is what we like. You do not get that in Florida anymore.
That's how the people in Hawaii were too.
Yes.
Now, I heard horror stories from before we went to Hawaii, people talking about how they are like that, where they're tired of tourists, yada, yada. I did not get that at all.
No.
The entire time I was there.
No. So I just want to throw that out there. If you're thinking, I'm listening to this, I'm living through them, but I'll never go to California because we were just a rarity. But we talked to many, many people. Listen, Derek will literally talk to a stranger. And he was chatting it up. And nobody made us feel uncomfortable. They were very nice. Like she said, especially in the parks, those people, even Sophia's these people are in a lot better mood than at Disney World, because those people act like they hate their job.
They really do. And that's happened since the pandemic. It was it used to not be like that. But
no.
So another thing that we did was the Warner Brothers studio tour. And this was something that Stephanie decided before we went not to do, because she didn't care about that as much as I did. And she wanted to put that money towards our VIP tour that we were going to do. So I decided me, Jordan, and Taylor were going to go. And then her girls really, really wanted to go. So I was like, why don't you just let them go with us? If you want to go, you can. If not, it's not a big deal. So we set off, and we got there. I think we had an 11 o'clock tour, and I did that purposely because I knew that LA morning traffic is insane until about that time. So we get there, and there is this massive school group in buying their tickets. And the girls just looked at me. I looked at Jordan, and I was like, you have got to be kidding me. So I went over to the people and was like, okay, is there any way we can like get in front of this school group? Like, because we only had 5 people. And they were like, no, we can't do that. But what you can do is go to the end of the tour and we'll let you start there and let them get going on like the ride on part of the tour. And then you can skip the end when they're going to be in there. So we were like, okay, that's great. So we go in there and do that. You can see like a lot of the sets from Harry Potter movies, Batman, Wonder Woman. There was a lot of like the DC comic movies in there. The Batmobile, all the Batman suits that he wore, like from the beginning till the end. It was really, really neat. They also had like interactive things you could do. You could pretend like you're filming a movie with Harry Potter, and, you know, it shows you like how you would read the script and then you go act out. It was really neat, stuff like that in there. And it was really fun. So we did that first, and then we go through and get on the little tram, and they took us through, and it's an actual working studio. Most movies are filmed on the Warner Brother lot. It's the biggest, and it has the most sound stages. So they told us that even like Disney will use it a lot. Universal, Warner Brothers, they all share each other's sound stages. And the guy made the comment, he said, we're not competitors until it hits the box office. So they, like, in the making of shows and movies, they all are using each other's, which I thought was really neat. It's like community over competition kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we get on this tram, and there's maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 people on here. And the driver's like, okay, so y'all, like, obviously he didn't say y'all, but y'all tell me what your favorite movies and TV shows are. Like, what do you hope to see here? Nobody said a word. Everybody was so quiet. Well, I speak up because I'm like, okay, I knew me and Harper were dying to see Stars Hollow from Gilmore Girls. Taylor wanted to see the Full House so bad. We were talking about like Pretty Little Liars. There was something else that we said, I can't remember. But I just started spitting off this stuff, and this guy's like, okay, well, like, yeah, we can do all that. And literally nobody's saying anything on this tram. So I'm like, okay, guys, thanks for coming to my tour today, because I just kind of took over, but nobody else was saying anything.
Yeah.
So we went through and they showed us where different scenes of the shows were filmed. There was one part, like the very beginning, he starts saying it's a part on Gilmore Girls, yada, yada. Like, he hasn't even went into detail. And Harper speaks up and she's like, oh, it's that episode where blah, blah, blah happens. And he's like, who just said that? Like, he was so amazed that she knew what part happened there. So we got to go through. We saw Stars Hollow. It was so cool. Even Sophia, she started Gilmore Girls, but she didn't follow through, but she still thought that part was cool too. Even Jordan, I mean, he's just seen Gilmore Girls on when I'm watching it, but they show you like how you can see the back of one of these houses is Lorelai's house. It's actually the front of her house, because they only use the outside. The inside part was filmed in a soundstage. So you can go into the houses, and some things were filmed in there, but it wasn't like her house. So it was like laid out totally different. But when you walk through the house and come out on the other side, it's actually Suki's house from the same show. So it's all the same house, but the back looks like one and the front looks like the other. And that was really, really neat. So we got to see a lot of Stars Hollow, and he told us that if we would have been on any earlier tours than the one we were on, they had been filming that morning on that section, and when they're filming, they don't allow those tours to go through. So if they had done what I asked them to do about skipping the school group, we would have missed out on Stars Hollow, and that would have been such a bummer because that was the highlight. So Taylor got to see the Full House. We got to see the Friends set, the fountain from the theme song, and the couch, all that. It was so cool, which they were filming other stuff there that I hadn't watched yet, like Abbott Elementary. They were actually filming that day, so we did get to see some of their stuff. But that didn't really, I mean, it was neat, but I didn't really care because I don't watch that show.
Yeah.
So that, to me, the Warner Brothers that was the highlight of my entire trip. And it was really, really cool to see how it all works and how Friends, the entire series was filmed in a soundstage and they never one time stepped foot in New York City, which kind of like made me sad now knowing that when I watch it. I'm like, imposters, you're not really there. But we got to see the whole Friends set. Big Bang Theory was there too, but I never watched that show. It was neat to see their set though.
Yeah. It was funny to me because I was thinking Shelby's losing all of her movie magic between this and the Hawaii one.
Mm-hmm.
She,
Yeah.
She's done so many now.
Well, you know, I mentioned in one of the other episodes, Jordan and I did the Keys to the Kingdom tour in Magic Kingdom a few years ago. And that's how I felt about that, because you go behind the scenes in Magic Kingdom and see how everything works. And now when I go to Disney, I think about everything that I learned on that tour, and it just doesn't feel as magical. I mean, it's still magical, but that's kind of how I felt on this. Now, when I'm watching Gilmore Girls and I know it wasn't really snowing, like that was just fake snow, but he told us so many random bits of information. It was just really, really neat. And I think anybody, if you're going to California, should do that tour because it was really awesome.
I think the last thing that we have on the list to wrap up is the Dodger Stadium tour. Let's say that Jordan is the only one that is a baseball fan amongst us.
He is, and he has this thing where anytime we go to a big city, he wants to tour. Well, we have two things that we do. We always find their zoo, and he finds the baseball stadium. We have toured, I cannot begin to tell you how many stadiums I've toured, and ask me how many baseball games I've watched in my life. Like, I can count on one finger. But he loves that. And I mean, it was cool. We saw the Dodgers stadium, and she had lots of history of like how the Dodgers came there. They used to be somewhere else. I don't remember which city it was, either New York, Chicago. It was somewhere. They were somewhere else. And then they came to LA. She had a lot of history to tell us about that. That same day, we went to the Santa Monica Pier. That was also really cool. And I feel like this whole episode's the Shelby episode, but as Stephanie has said, like, they were sick on these days, so we were out finding other entertainment. I feel bad because, like, I think y'all would have really enjoyed everything that we did. You just had to hold the bed down.
Yeah, pretty much. I can tell you about how nice that the urgent care was. Great.
Yeah. I thought about adding that to the list, actually, in case anybody ever is in a predicament where they need to know.
I don't remember what the name of it is, but I don't remember if I told you this, but we went there and we were the only people there. And I said, oh, so people aren't sick around here? And she said, no, actually, we had been closed for 3 weeks, and this was our first day open, and I don't think people realized we had opened back up. So, we were the only people in that place. So that was really nice.
That's funny. We went to In-N-Out several times. I know you already mentioned In-N-Out, how different it tastes in California. I am obsessed, and I'm so excited. We're actually getting one very close to my house this year. I think it's opening this year. So I'm pretty pumped about that.
Well, don't get too excited because it didn't taste the same in Houston.
No.
It might be good though, because Houston also had a what's the donut place that you just said? Voodoo Donuts, and it did taste the same. So there's that.
Yeah. I mean, I've had In-N-Out in Arizona. I've had it in California. I've had it in Colorado. Is it in Colorado? I feel like it's in Colorado.
Yeah, I think it's in the airport. My sister has brought it back.
It's so good. So good. They only have 4 items on their menu. Literally 1, 2, 3, 4. And anyway, it was really good. The Santa Monica Pier had parking garages near the pier. So we parked, and they did, if you parked and left within 90 minutes, you didn't even have to pay. So we didn't have to pay for parking because we didn't stay long. The end of Route 66 is actually on the Santa Monica Pier. So we got a picture with that sign, and there were little street performer guys out there doing break dances out on the pier. And that was so neat to watch. And they were so funny. I got some videos of that. It was really cool. And there was this man that had like these ropes, and he was blowing these massive bubbles. He had his ropes, and he was like putting them down in a 5-gallon bucket of this solution. And those bubbles were seriously Like me, Jordan, and Taylor, probably all three could have fit in one of those bubbles. That's just showing you how massive they were. So they had people doing like stuff like that. So we walked all the way down to the end and then back to the car. But that was really cool. On that same day, we drove through Rodeo Drive. That was a neat experience. I did not get out and I didn't go shopping. I didn't even feel like I could afford to breathe the air down that street.
I would have loved to people watch on that street.
It was really neat. Which we did that too last time. We just drove through. We didn't stop, obviously, but it was really cool. But really, I think that's all that we had, like, as far as non-Disney stuff goes. I think this is a shorter episode too. Like I said, I feel like it's the Shelby episode, but it's just because I did everything off-site. So you did do the beach, though. You had a little bit to say about that.
Yeah.
The next episode will be the wrap-up of California and what you've all been waiting on. We're bringing on the husbands and the children.
Yeah.
So
we're going to give them a little bit more airtime this time.
Yes. So they're going to tell you all about their favorite, least favorite. I don't know. I still haven't come up with a prompt for them yet. So questions we're going to ask them, but I don't know. We'll let it be their episode.
So after we finish up the California series, I think we're going to do an Easter chit chat. I think that's what's on the agenda, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So get ready, because that seems to be what you guys like. Similar to the Christmas episode, where we'll probably talk about some of our Easter traditions, what we did, what's been going on.
As always, if you want to be a guest on our podcast, let us know. We have 2 people in the works right now. I don't know how that's going to fall in our lineup, but if you want to be a guest, you don't have to talk about travel. We can do a chit chat with a guest.
Yeah. We it seemed like we had, when we first started, it was like people were like, yes, they wanted to come on. And then as it got closer, they were like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this because people are actually listening.
Yeah.
That's really
people
what it
were
felt
excited when they thought we would have 4 people listening, but joke's on you.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So I guess that wraps it up. Thank you, as always, for listening and coming back every Monday. May your flights be on time and your luggage never lost. But if it's not, that's where the fun begins. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening.
Pack your dreams, grab your bag. Adventures call, let's zig and zag. From castles tall to ocean waves, magic made for wanderers brave. Theme parks light up the night, starry-eyed in sheer delight. Board the ships, set sail and see endless tales and fantasy. Chaos and carry-ons, let's go. Disney dreams in tow, you know. Every flight and every ride, join the journey, come inside. From Mickey ears to Dole Whip tree, pixie dust beneath our feet. Through the lands and sea we roam, feel the wonder, feel at home. From rope drop to the fireworks show, lose yourself in the joyful glow. Cruising waters, feeling free, every twist's a memory. Chaos and carry-ons, let's go. Disney dreams in tow, you know. Every flight and every ride, join the journey, come inside.